Welcome to East Atlanta Church, where ministry is made simple by Pastor Jéan L. Ward.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, it's my pleasure and my honor to introduce the Reverend Jéan Ward, Pastor Jéan Ward, and it is my pleasure and my honor to receive him today. Won't you receive the man of God on your feet, please?
Good morning. You may be seated. Normally, with introductions, I always tell people it doesn't really matter. I'm just a servant of the Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I mean, that's really all that matters. And if you really want to know, as people say, I'm an ex a lot of things, which makes me a sinner saved by grace, which has brought me to a situation where I can't do anything else but serve God. Now, I know none of you really know me, and one of the things that when I was asked to come here, I was told about the ministry, and I went and looked it up, and I noticed that you all have a Facebook page. Okay, an active Facebook page. That is such a rarity. I'm going to be honest with you. So one of the things I'll tell people to do is check in with your own church. If you have your phone with you right now, if you haven't checked in, pull out your phone right now and just check in. You and everyone who has a phone, social media, just check in. Let your friends know where you're at. You'll be amazed, with what goes on. That just them knowing that you decided to wake up this morning and come and worship and be with God in the presence of God, that they may reach out to you and ask you for prayer. I mean, and that's an amazing thing. Someone asking you to pray with them and pray for them. I can't think of anything greater, a better way of evangelizing and letting God into somebody's life. So I want you to do that right quick. I will promise I try not to really preach long, and I do. I'm serious. I have this thing about it. So I have my assistant who's keeping time with me to make sure that I stay time on task. And but before we start, I would love to pray for your apostle in her absence, especially what she's going through. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you first saying thank you. Father, right now you understand what the shepherd of this house is dealing with. You understand loss. You understand grief. Father, but you have conditioned her. Father, you've strengthened her. You've allowed her to go through this and hold her head up high to be the messenger of you to her family and to her friends. And in her absence, we have asked you that you have your way in this house right now. Father, remove anything that is not of you, any thought process, anything that will not glorify you, any words that will be out of order, any feelings that will hinder us from hearing you. And have your way with us. These things we ask in your darling son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I saw this joke that really got me, and it was really funny, and it made me think because I am a church planter, and I know what you all actually done what's considered church planting, which is planting, starting a church, doing things like this, and it's reminded me of something. And it says, one balmy day in the South Pacific, a Navy ship ebbed smoke coming from one of their huts on an uncharted island. Upon arriving at the shore, they were met by a shipwrecked survivor. He said, "I'm so glad you're here. I've been alone on this island for more than 5 years." The captain replied, "If you're all alone on the island, why do I see 3 huts?" The survivor said, Well, I live in one. I go to church in another." The captain said, "What about the 3rd hut?" He said, "That's where I used to go to church." Sometimes we're not even happy with ourselves. And I say this because a lot of times in our life, we want to do what we want to do, and we want God to move how we want God to move, and we want to claim that we're doing the work of the Lord. So if you would turn me to the book of Jonah. It's a very short book, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the text. It's only about 4 chapters. And we know about Jonah, but the awesome thing about Jonah is he was a great prophet, but a lot of his words were not even written in the text of the Bible. We'll only find about 2 passages that actually has his text of what he spoke and what he taught. But what we really know him for is being in the belly of this fish, right? So if you will turn me to chapter 1, and we're going to read the very following. We're going to skip around a little bit. But just walk with me. Some of these that I'm reading is from the Amplified, and some is from the King James. So if the wording is a little bit different, work with me here. And it reads, that the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, go to Nineveh, that the great city, and proclaim against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away to Tarshish to escape from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare, went down into the ship to go with them to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. Now, one of the things I want to do, what I want to do with you this morning is your purpose over your desire. Your purpose over your desire. Oftentimes in our life, what we do is we try to do what we feel God wants us to do, but make sure it's comfortable to us. Now, here we are, we have a prophet. We have someone that God has called, someone that God has chosen, someone that God has anointed, has proclaimed, appointed, put his mantle on him and said, this is who I have, this is my servant. But this same person ran from what God wanted him to do because he had his own hidden agenda. Sometimes in the church we claim to be doing things in the work of God, but we have a hidden agenda behind it because what God wants us to do, we really don't want the outcome of it. Now, I don't know if you understand, but what was going on here in the city, well, what happened is he did not want Nineveh to be a tool of God because he realized that the Assyrians would be used to then punish, God could use them to punish Israel. And in other words, look at it this way. If you know the people you love are not doing right and following God, you know the house that you serve is not doing what it's supposed to do, and God tells you to bring light to someone else that will shine light on your darkness, we'll tend not to go to that other place, won't we? Because the last thing we want to do is someone to expose our own mess or expose the mess in our house. See, we have a problem. Even if we're doing right, we don't want our family to look bad. We don't want our loved ones to look bad. We don't want our church to look bad. But what God is saying, listen, for me to bring healing and for me to correct and for me to grow, I have to bring some light into it. I have to do some things to make people see what's really going on. So Jonah did not want to see that. Jonah didn't want to feel that. And so what he did is he wanted to escape. But then he had another thought process that was going on in his mind. And that thought process was, here is a city. Nineveh was a very productive city. It was a very prosperous city. And Jonah was known for being here's the thing, a prophetic man of God. He was known for speaking on prosperity. He was known for bringing correction. So when he came in, three things happened. People got condemned for how they were living. People changed the way they were living and they began to receive the prosperity of God. You understand? And then people turned from their wicked ways of what they were doing. Now, that would seem like Nineveh would be the perfect place, wouldn't it? Well, let me fast forward that to where we are now. Many of us, when we want to go to church, or when we want to do church, or when we want to start a church, or when we want to be a part or do ministry, where do we go? Oftentimes, we'll talk about good preaching. That's a good pastor. He can preach. And we'll advertise our church about. We'll talk about a good word of the Lord. We'll talk about the ministries, and we'll talk about a prophetic word. But my question to you is, the people that are lost, what does that mean? What is a good word to someone who doesn't go to church? The only thing that resonates to are people that are already where? In church. But I thought we were supposed to be reaching those that are lost. So many of us have that same Jonah mentality. We want to go where we're comfortable at. Okay? So therefore what we're doing is we're operating in our thing of our desire over our purpose. Why? Because first thing we have to realize is that we have to realize, what is our desire? What is your desire while you do what you do? Do we desire because of what God can give to us? Do we desire because we evangelize, because it's more comfortable to talk about God with people who know God? Anybody know any black Hebrew Israelites? How many of y'all like have dinner and lunch with them? How many of y'all are friends with them? You know, see, I'm on Facebook and on social media, and I got friends that are black Hebrew Israelites. I got friends that are Nuwabians, that are Nation of Islam, intentionally. Why? Because see, I really don't need your friendship because you already know God. I need people who don't. Think about that for a second. If you're on social media and all your friends think the same way you do, who are you evangelizing to? See, I got friends on my page that I may wake up in the morning, they talking about any and everything. Most of y'all, when you see that mess come across your page, you stop following people, don't you?
Yeah.
Y'all, I ain't got time for that. The devil is a lie. No, I'm not letting that in my spirit. Really? So your spirit that weak that it's going to disturb you?
Wow.
So you're telling me that what they got is stronger than what you got. But I thought the God you serve was stronger. I'm sorry, man.
All right, step on my toes. Okay.
See, I'm sorry. Y'all located off of Fulton Industrial.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if you know what this area is, but you got the #1 swinger club right around the corner. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Anybody ever been there? Why? Not even in the parking lot? Why? Aren't they the ones who need Jesus? Oh, okay, I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out. You know, I mean, let's just be real. I could have sworn Jesus was dealing with a hoe at the well.
Yeah, he was.
Wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
I mean, isn't that who? You know, because he said the man that you got ain't even yours. And had conversation. And then, matter of fact, here's the thing. Here's the uncomfortable part. Where we fall in line with Jonah. Jonah was mad because what happened is, when he knew that God's heart was going to change. Jonah was afraid that they might get it right. And the thing is, if they get it right, God won't bring condemnation on them and damnation on them. How many times y'all get mad at the thing of when people you go and prophesy, you talk to people, you tell them what God's going to do, and they're living their life wrong, and then all of a sudden it hits them and they start living their life right, but you get kind of mad because they didn't receive the same penance you did for what you did. You know, well, they're going to get theirs. No, they're not. I'm not going to have to reap what I sow because, see, Jesus paid the price.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay? Now, here's the thing. What happened with that woman, God, if you remember, God sent her away, and he sent her to go evangelize. She didn't get ordained. She didn't get licensed.
No titles.
You know, none of that. He didn't have to go through a prayer service where people laid hands on her. He instantly told her to go tell about him. That wouldn't happen in today's church. In today's church, you know, you got to go through a whole different thing. You got to sit for a while. Let me make sure that God really called you. Let's see the fruit of your spirit. Well, the fruit of her spirit is the fact that she's accepted Christ right now.
Man, that's enough.
Okay? And that she was willing to go right then. How many of us went right then? Many of you got called or God tried to get you, tug on your heart, and it took you years to turn around. She turned around right then.
That's true.
That's proof enough. So, but what happens is our desire for people is so hatred because of our flesh that we want them to go through what we went through. And that's why we can't reach anyone. And we come to church acting like Jonah, pouting our way through it. Okay? Now, I'm going through, I'm not really going to read this whole thing because I know you know this scripture. I know you know this story. So what we have to realize is we have to find out what our true desire is. Is our desire to be great and be known as evangelist, prophet, apostle, bishop, deacon, elder, reverend? I don't even go by reverend. The Bible says reverend is no man but God. You know, the most title is, people say, well, I got to call you something, call me Jéan. Well, call me servant. Okay, well, I do pastor at church, call me pastor. Okay, I can do that. But it doesn't mean anything to me. And one of the reasons it doesn't, because, see, there's some days that I'm not pastor. There's some days I'm Jéan. And see, I'm not in the temple turning over tables. See, I'm literally just going crazy. Because God is still working with me. Okay? And I can deal with that. But one thing I'm not going to deal with is I'm not going to pout my way about it. And I'm not going to run from God like what happened. Jonah went ahead of him. The next thing is he went into this ship. And what happens is when you run away, you bring curses to people that are all around you. Some of y'all are in a situation because you got people that are around you that are not supposed to be around you. They're supposed to be somewhere else, but they're comfortable to you, but they're bringing hell in your life.
Wow.
Remember he was on that ship? What happened? God had a mighty storm. It's so funny. Everybody believes in God. There's no such thing as an atheist. I want you to know that. Everybody believes in something. When the rubber meets the road, somebody's calling on something. They were on the ship. The scripture says that they all began to pray to their own God. They began to say, and then they came to whoever your God is, can you wake up and call him? Because he was asleep. But what we fail to do is, as believers, we act like nobody knows anything. And we demean and we demoralize them because it makes us feel better. See, it's a whole lot easier for me to tell somebody that you don't know Jesus, so let me tell you about it, versus me just asking them, what do you know about Jesus? When I meet people in the street, I ask them, what do they worship? I don't ask them, do they go to church? Do you see the difference between the two? One is judgmental. You'll never reach these people out here if you're judgmental with them. And you sit back and say things like, where do you go to, or do you go to church? That means that you're asking, you think in my mind that I don't know God. And then we sit back and we look at things and say, well, if you don't go to church, then you're not a true believer. Or you don't really know Jesus. And they know better than that. And they're more educated than that. And so we run into the situation where Jonah was on a ship. And this is so funny. Jonah was a prophet of the Lord on a ship with people that believed in other gods. And at that time, he didn't even think about ministry to them. He was only concerned about what he wanted. He was only concerned about his desire. Not even the purpose that God called him to. How many times we're around people that we could be ministering to, but we're only concerned about one thing. That's going to be for us. We go home. How many people know all your neighbors? Think about that for a second. How many of you have invited your neighbors to church? How many of you and your co-workers, I'm not talking about preaching and being, but just, reached out to them. The one that always wants to curse, the one that always plays the music loud, the one that you just don't get along with. See, those are the people I like. See, if you pull up next to me and you got a tag that says too blessed to be stressed, I'm really not going to deal with you right now. I'm just going to be real with you. Because see, your whole world is, when I begin to talk to you, your world is going to miss it, because there's no such thing as being that blessed. Okay? Because even Christ went through some stressful times. So I'm just going to leave that right there for those that got that bumper sticker on your car. You might want to go take it off, man. I know you feel some kind of way about me because I said it, but it's okay, because the real talk is, y'all know y'all had some 3 o'clock morning travailing times asking God to move this and take this away from me. That's stress, boo-boo. It's okay. It's all right. Stress and pressure, you know what that does? That causes a pipe to break. That means that a breakthrough is coming. Some of you need to allow that pressure in your life so some things get broke through in your life. Okay? Stop trying to act like it ain't there. It's really there. And if you allow it to go ahead, it's going to take you to another level, because there are things in your life that needs to be broken up for God to flow in your life. We talk about overflow, but overflow only comes from abundance and from things that have broken out. Think about that for a second. Now, here's the thing that goes on. We have here. The next thing is we have to realize is, does our desire align with God's purpose? Does it align with God's purpose? God's purpose, see, and here's the thing. We want to put God's purpose in a perspective of where we're comfortable at. When I was first called to the ministry, I was a deacon, and I was like, God, I can serve you as a deacon. I'm good. He's like, but that's not my purpose. Like, you want me to serve and talk about Jesus, talk about you, I can do that as a deacon. He said, no, I called you to pastor. No, that's not what I want to do. Okay, that's not going to work, God. That doesn't fit into my whole gamut. That doesn't work with me. Now, I had this conversation with God before when he first called me when I was 15 years old, and I definitely said no then. I was like, that's not going to happen. One, because I love money. I like making money, and money and preachers don't work. You know that, right? Okay, so that was a stronghold on me. And it wasn't the fact of stealing money, it was a thing of, I'm good at it. I'm good at making money. And so, ministry don't make money. So that didn't work. It just wasn't going to add up. But God worked on my heart anyway. So I had these things and these desires, these things going on with God. And it wasn't lining up. Now the last thing with my desire was, when I was pastoring, he said he wanted me to plant. And I never wanted to. And I started a church, planted a church, and that was hard. And I said, I don't want to do that. Because dealing with people to follow you from the ground up, that's a hard thing to do. Okay? Because here's the thing. It means that you have to literally hear God every day, and you're depending and trusting on people. Every day you wake up in the morning when you're starting a church plan, or and you're wondering who's going to be there. Who's going to show up? Is it going to be 1? Is it going to be none? Is it going to be 100? You never know. And those things weigh on you. So what I wanted to do didn't align with what God wanted from me. But here's the thing. when I did forsake what I wanted to do, and I turned my desire to God, and I allowed my desire to be his desire, to go with his purpose. Those things that I thought I couldn't do, God did give to me. Those things that I thought that wouldn't work in my life, they begin to flourish. But here's what has to happen. The next thing is, are you willing to sacrifice? Now, sacrifice is not those things that you've gone where you didn't have food to eat and you sacrifice eating a meal. That's not sacrifice. Now, many of y'all have said, girl, I sacrificed a lot in my life. I meant many days without having, and I had to go without. Any of y'all said that before? You had to go without? That's not a sacrifice. Okay? That's a drought. You can't sacrifice in a drought until you're going to give up the last. Now, if you want to follow me, then you can deal with 2 Kings and the widow and her son when the prophet Elijah came in and she had nothing but the flour, okay, and some oil, and he said, guess what? I'm a man of God and I want you to feed me. And she's like, no, I ain't got enough here. Just for me and my son to eat and then die. He was like, no, you're gonna cook something for me to eat, and we're gonna let God have the rest. Okay? And as she did that, the story says that it went on and had enough flour and enough oil to last throughout the drought, and then they had some more to go sell, and then they were able to plant, and God gave them abundance, and everything went well. But she sacrificed. See, sacrificing is when you have and then you give up. You abstain from. You can't sacrifice what you don't have. Okay? Your power got turned off and it was a sacrifice. No, you just didn't have the money. That wasn't a sacrifice that you were without power. Okay? One of two things are happening. One, God was trying to get your attention. Two, you were a bad budget with money. Okay? Let's just be real. Now, here's the thing. So what are you willing to sacrifice? And are you willing to sacrifice? What Jonah had to realize is, what was he willing to sacrifice? Was he willing to sacrifice his comfort? And when he did that, that's when he said, okay, I'm the one, and they threw him overboard. Now, when we get overboard, we find ourselves in a situation, and many of us have been in that belly of the fish. And we, in like believers, we do what Jonah did. Then we call out to God. And we had that whole moment, God. Many of y'all, that may be watching it may not have been God, or it may not have been a belly, but it might have been a toilet bowl when you was too drunk and you were like, God, please get me through this one more time. I promise I'll never drink like this again. I promise I'll never smoke like this. Or maybe y'all never drunk, but you was in that relationship and you was like, God, I promise I'll never date like that again. I'll never date him again. And the next time I see another Tony, I'm not gonna deal with nobody named Tony, Anthony, Tawan, Terrence, anything with a T. I'm not dealing with it because I know what I've gone through. And I promise you, God didn't get me out of this. I promise I ain't signing for no more cars. I ain't co-signing on no credit card. I ain't trying to move in with nobody. I ain't doing none of that. I don't care. No, I ain't dealing with nobody who said they going through a divorce. I gotta see some papers. All these things. I don't know. Maybe that's not y'all. Maybe that's not y'all. But I'm just saying, I've dealt with some people that I've looked like, I don't know. I had a friend one time and he's in jail right now. And he told me, he said, man, I love light-skinned women, but they get me in so much trouble. And I was like, what do you mean? Every time I date one, I'm in trouble. And I was like, man, it can't be that. Yeah, I promise you. He's like, no, I'm not dealing with him again. Actually, he's in jail because he was dealing with one again. But the thing was, it wasn't about them. It was about the fact of the women that he was dealing with. It's not about the men that you're dealing with. It's about the type of the name. It's who you are. Right. See, we keep attracting. We attract certain things. We have to ask ourselves, what are we attracting? What are we attracting? And what are we willing to sacrifice with that? Are we willing to sacrifice those things? I like a man who's strong and, he know how to handle his business and he a little thug, but, it's okay. Some of y'all want to fix men. You can't fix a man, okay? We were here before you. Think about that. I want you to think about that for a second. Okay, we were here before you. God created us first. So when you run into him, what you see is what you get. Okay? I know you see potential. Let me tell you what potential is. It's called laziness. Okay? Now, if he's 28 and he ain't beginning to do it yet, chances are he's died. And I know you may say what you can do with him. Let another woman have that when he's developed. Because your Boaz is somewhere else. But it ain't right there and right then. But that goes the same thing with your job. We take things because we may say, well, you know, I see what it could be. No, you know, making $10 an hour is not going to pay for your family. Okay, it's not going to take care of your household. Why would you take the job and then 3 years later you're complaining that you're only making $11 and it's not worth it? And I'm worth more than that. Well, you are, but that's what you took. You didn't sacrifice and say, you know what, God, I'm going to wait on you. See, that's the thing. So we got to be willing to sacrifice. Because he said in chapter 2, verse 7, he says, when my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came into me, into the holy temple, and they observed lying vanities, forsake their own mercy. They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercies. That means that those that believe in the flesh, in other words, when you put that Snapchat filter, that Instagram filter, that Facebook filter on you, making you look good, and you believe that's you, you forsake your own mercy. God said, let me put it this way. God said, I can't show you mercy because I didn't recognize you.
Wow.
Maybe let me say it again. Because you're putting up such a facade, God can't even recognize you to do what he needs to do for you because you're being someone else who he didn't destine you to be. Do you understand what that means? So stop trying to portray someone and be the person God called you to be. And that, I'm just saying, that's what the Bible says. It just says you forsake your own mercy. He says, but I will sacrifice unto thee the voice of thanksgiving. In other words, no matter where I'm at, I'm going to be grateful for it. I'm going to be thankful for it. He says, I will pay thee that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord, and the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah upon dry land. Now here's the thing. After he realized that, you know what? It's not, in other words, he had a Christ moment. Not my will, but thy will. We have to get to a point where we realize it's not about us. Okay? It's not about what makes you comfortable. I know that you all love this church, right? Y'all love the ministry?
Yes.
Do you love it?
Yes.
I'm asking. Do you love it?
Yes.
All right then, come on now. But if you love it, why don't you show it? Why don't you share it? You know, when you got that new car, you put it all on Facebook and Instagram and tweeted what God did. Look at this, and you made sure they knew what it was. I don't care if it was a Toyota Corolla. You let everybody know, like it was a Bentley, and you were proud of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got that new hairstyle, you let everybody know. Hair on fleek, nails, everything. But my question to you is, why is it you don't do that with God and with the ministry? We do it everything else, don't we? You get a new boo in your life, y'all all booed up, got it all. You change your status from single to involved in a relationship and everything else. But you don't talk about God the same way. See, what Jonah realized is, he said, let me get this thing in perspective. And then the Bible says that he spewed him out on dry land, but he found himself in Nineveh. And then we got to realize that we can't get jealous. Church has the number one haters. Church folk, y'all, this is hater central. Okay? It's hater central. I mean, because the reason I say that is this. We spend more time talking about people than uplifting people. I don't know why she's singing. I don't know if it ain't from they singing too long, preaching too long, singing too short, preaching too short. She wearing a dress too short. Why he wearing this? Why they gotta have so many tattoos? Why they gotta have so many piercings? We find everything in the world to talk about people. Matter of fact, God ain't using him because look at, ain't no prosperity all on him. God just hold up, he ain't blessed, he ain't no blessings, ain't nothing happening. Or God, that ain't God for him to have all that abundance. What else is he? You ain't never satisfied in the church. I mean, think about it. We want to talk about one person may work at a liquor store. How you gonna work at a package store and you love the guy selling them spirits to somebody? I mean, it's a job. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he can minister to somebody. I worked at a liquor store. It was hard for me. But can you believe I actually led 3 people to Christ when I was working at a liquor store and I really wasn't even truly saved yet? It doesn't matter. I was selling drugs and trafficking cocaine and still leading people to Christ. Can you believe that? Wow. I was the worst person in the world you could think of in relationships, but still spoke highly of Christ. But yet, if you saw me then, I love what you said earlier, if they saw you 20 years ago, if you saw me 25 years ago, you would look and probably say, ain't no way God's going to use him like that. But what you wouldn't have known is God was using me right then like that.
Right.
In the midst. Because, yeah, God will bless mess. God don't bless, but yes, he does. If y'all ever received a blessing, God, you're proof that God blessed mess.
Right.
Because all y'all messy, including me. Okay? I know it don't sound good, and I know you're like, we don't like him. Don't ever have him back. Never, ever, 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 ever. Because I don't know what he's talking about. Well, here's the thing. I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. Okay? Because see, the Word of God is not there. It's supposed to comfort us. It comforts us to let us know the end of the story. See, that's the comfort in the Word. It's the very end. Because it's written with the end in mind. And what we fail to realize is when we get like Jonah, we don't think of the end in mind. We think about the right man. You know the end of the story is we win, right?
Absolutely.
No, really. We know the end of the story, we win, right? Okay, so if you know the end of the story, why are you worried about everything in between? It's like when I watch TV and certain things. What am I sure? Power. I know y'all too holy. Y'all don't watch Power. But see, I know I knew they weren't going to kill him on Power. I knew on Empire that Lucius he's not going to die because that's the end of the story. It's like when you're watching a movie. You know that certain things are not going to happen because they have to keep it going. God said, listen, you know the end of the story. No matter what you're going through, you're not going to die. I promise you eternal life. So why hold back? So what happens here, Jonah realizes this, but Jonah's a little bit upset. So he's hating on the people. He goes and he tells the word of God to everyone. And then guess what they do? They change. They start praying. They put on sackcloth and ashes. Now, one of the things about when we get so spiritual, I'm going to get so, gotta meditate on God, and I'm putting on sackcloth and we're gonna sit in ashes and pray to God. Well, understand the reason they did that was because they were a rich city. So sackcloth and ashes, the thing about it was they were saying, I'm gonna strip myself of everything that defines me. Okay? And I'm gonna sit on and sit in the ashes with symbolism of understanding that everything that has been destroyed is what I'm a part of, because this is what I return to. See, I am nothing and I will return to nothing. So therefore they prayed that way. They were letting God know that this is it. That I realized I am nothing. I was created. Remember, we weren't created from the dirt. We were created from the dust of the dirt. That's what the Bible says. Look at it. We were created from the dust of the dirt. So that means that we were created out of something that was nothing. Of no substance, of no form. Without God, we have nothing, we are nothing. And then it wasn't until God breathed the breath of life into man that we became a living being. So therefore, we can't be formed without God, we can't have life without God. So why is it we're trying to do everything else in our life without God? Jonah went and preached and then he got mad because the people started getting right. And then he came to God and he told God, he says, I knew you were going to be like this. I knew you were going to show mercy unto them. I knew it. And he got so mad he left the city and he went pouting because God was showing mercy on them. Really? Is that how? We want to get mad because of the fact that here's a young gentleman that came in here with 500 tattoos and 32 piercings, and he's talking about Jesus, and you look at him, how can he know Jesus looked like that? Because he knows Jesus. He's been through it. Why are you going to get mad? I don't care if she's out there just left pinups or whatever the club is over there, and she comes to church and says that I want to serve God. Guess what? Let her serve God. She ain't got to speak in no tongues. She ain't got to quote a scripture. Matter of fact, she ain't even got to know how many books in the Bible. The only thing she got to know is Jesus.
That's it.
But we close the door. And if we don't close the door, we take a cover up and cover her up. Do y'all know how that makes a woman feel when she comes to a church and she's sitting in the middle and you come and give her a handkerchief to put over her leg? And I understand the reason behind it. But look at the other side of it. What you just told her was that she was inappropriate and not worthy. And she had to cover up. Versus loving on her. See, our job is not to convict. Our job is love. The Holy Spirit convicts. So if they keep coming in here and their skirts are short, he keeps coming in here with his vest and no shirt on. That ain't your job. Let God work on them. Let God do it. It's okay. It really, really is, I promise you. Okay? I'm serious. I know some women that are preachers and they got tongue rings and nose rings and everything else. And I'm sitting here like, God, okay. My God, okay. Because my flesh is thinking one thing, but but then I have to remember, oh, wait a minute, that's my flesh thinking this. You get what I just said? That's my flesh thinking about that. Why am I going to subject her to my flesh? Well, if she's a distraction, guess what? Let God be God. Because that distraction to you is probably going to reach some other people. I'm going to be real with you. And your loving on them will help them develop who they are. And we won't pout our way out. Because Jonah went and pouted. Because they began to get right. And what God said is, listen, you all have gotten like Jonah. We get so holy. And we feel that we paid our price and we paid our dues and we deserve to be where we are. And he said there are no dues, there are no prices. There is literally the Bible says you cannot do work to get into heaven. You can't buy your way into heaven through your actions. It was already paid for. Now understand, there's actions that you have to do to be able to reach people. There's accountability that we have. Okay? But I don't care how much good you do. It won't get you into heaven. And if you're doing it to get you into heaven, you're doing it for the wrong reason anyway. See, the real thing is, let me put you to relationship terms. I deal with a lot of relationships, and I'm almost done. I realized when I was young, I was a young parent. My daughter was about 5 years old, and she was 4 or 5 years old learning her math. And I share this story because it's kind of funny and touching at the same time. And I was a young pastor, and I was loving God and on fire. And my daughter was having a hard time adding, and I was mad about it. But she was doing some homework, and I asked her, and the answer was wrong, and I asked her a question like, what was 8 plus 5? And she couldn't answer it. She was quiet. I got so mad, I was about to beat her because I knew she knew better. You know, some of y'all, maybe y'all not as bad as I am, but some of y'all know parents that will spank their kids for getting wrong answers, not applying themselves and living up to their potential. And I literally told her, I said, I'm about to go upstairs and get this belt because I know you know better, but you better pray to God that he gives you the answer to that question. Because if you ain't got the answer, I'm about to tear your tail up. I went up to her room. Wow, I've never felt this way when I told this story before, and I told it so much. I went up to her room, and I got her a belt. And I came downstairs into my living room. And I saw her on her knees, praying to God. And I got mad that she had the audacity to pray to God to ask for an answer. We sometimes get mad when we teach people things and we tell people what to do, and then they literally do it because we really want them to suffer how we suffered. We want people to feel the pain we felt. Think about it. We really, deep down inside our wickedness and our flesh, have wanted people to feel the very thing that we went through. We say things like, oh, you're going to learn. You're going to learn one day. You're going to see. You're going to experience this. Your kid's going to treat you this way. You're going to go through everything that you sow, you're going to reap. And we speak cursings upon people. And we do it, and we're believers. Jonah believed he was a prophet, and he spoke curses amongst them and wanted the curse to come true. So we can say, see, I told you. Some of you have the gift of prophecy, and the problem is God is saying, I can't even work on your gifting because you have no love. You can't forgive people. You can't look past their sin. He said, you're wondering why your ministry hasn't taken off. He says, it's because of the fact that you don't know how to look past a person's past. You keep holding them accountable for what they did instead of just loving them. You keep saying that, well, they haven't changed, but listen, where you want them to change, God said, I'm not worried about it. So they still smoke weed. And you feel that God can't use them in the weed circle? You still lie. So they still have sex. You think God can't use them? We still all have that same problem. And what happened is she began, I asked her, I said, I had the belt in hand. And I asked her what was the answer, and she gave the answer. And I got even mad. And I began to laugh. I had that surely flesh and blood did not reveal this to you. And I was so mad that I asked her another question. I wanted her to get it wrong. And she got every question right. I look back over that point, that moment, and I realize we do that to people. When they get certain things right, we try to find something else wrong with them. Or why they're not good enough. Or why we can't let them do work in the church. Or why, well, you know, they're not articulate, or they don't know the right verbiage, or they don't look the same way, or they're still doing this. It doesn't matter. But that point resonated with my daughter. She's 18 now. A sophomore in college. And she realizes when she has that belly of the whale moment, when she's going through, she'll get on her knees and she'll pray. She'll fast without me ever having to tell her. You know, she's on a water fast now. And I would say, you want to know, I'm on a water fast, I'm good. And sometimes I'm like, I have to catch myself, and I'm like, you're going to be on a water fast, and you praying to God, but you still listen to this, you know, and I have to catch myself and realize it doesn't matter. She can still listen to Beyonce, you know. I mean, I got to get over that, because God is still working with her and using her. But what happened with Jonah at the end? Jonah got so mad with God, and he failed to realize what I had to realize on my daughter, is that Christ paid the price, and his mercy and grace is sufficient.
Yes, it is.
Jonah got so mad that he said he wanted to die. He went outside the city and pouted, and God allowed a leaf to grow over his head to give him shade. He woke up in the morning, God sent a worm, the worm devoured the leaf. And then he got mad because the worm devoured the leaf, and God said, he said, you're more concerned about a leaf than you're concerned about those people. You wanted that leaf to live. You wanted those people to die. We're so concerned about a church, an edifice, than we're more concerned about the church, the people. We will sacrifice and make a church live and look good, but forsake the people outside because we don't want them to come in and make it look a certain way. Christ said, I came for them that were lost, that they may be found. It doesn't matter where they are in their life. It doesn't matter if you think it's too late. I do believe he was crucified between two thieves, and one of them he even gave eternal life to. On the cross. It's not too late. It's not too late in your situation. It's not too late for the loved ones that you have in your life. It's not too late for the people out here that are walking up and down the street on a Sunday that's about to go into the liquor store in about the next few minutes. It's not too late. It's not too late because of the strip club that just opened. For those individuals that feel that they got to do what they got to do, it's not too late. Last time I was talking to a young man, and I had through an event, and he pulled out $200 stacks. And he literally told me, and this is an educated young man, a great young brother, and he literally said, well, you know, I'm going to be here, he says, because, you know, I'm getting to keep this money in my pocket instead of spending it at the Blue Flame. Now, my thought process was, you're joking. He's like, yeah, I do this every weekend, $200 at the Blue Flame. Now, I was mad because I'm like, why are you spending $200 at the Blue Flame? Now, those that know will know that that's not, I mean, come on. Really? The Blue Flame? Come on. I'm just being real. Some of y'all too holy, y'all don't know the difference. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. But I was upset about it, but then instantaneously my flesh kicked in, trying to be super spiritual. Like, you would actually spend that kind of money, so what's wrong with you? Don't you know God? No. But what I realized is, I had an opportunity to minister to him. And you know what his reasoning behind it was? Because when he goes there, the women make him feel special. Literally. He goes to strip clubs. He says, I like to go because when I give money, they rub my back and they talk to me and they make me, and it makes him feel special. So while we're out here dogging these men out that are here, and the women that are out there, everybody wants to feel special. Everybody wants to feel loved. That's the only thing that Nineveh wanted. When they realized that God cared enough about them to send a prophet of his, they realized that they were special in his eyes. How are we making people feel special? Is our purpose over our desire? Or are we so busy going after our desire? The very end of it is that Christ said his purpose, even to his death and his resurrection, was for us to know that he loved us. Now, how are we playing that forward? Amen? Amen. Amen. Amen.